What if the very thing that makes you good at caring for others is slowly destroying your health? That constant vigilance comes with a price most never see coming. We're experiencing a hidden epidemic called the human giver syndrome. It's the expectation that some people should give endlessly without requiring anything in return. The problem isn't caring itself, it's the absence of boundaries. When you care about everything, you create an invisible tax on your mental and physical resources. Think about your typical day: the friend needing support, the family member requiring help, the struggling colleague. Each situation seems manageable, but collectively, it's like dozens of apps running in the background, each draining your battery without you noticing. Understanding this hidden cost is the first step to reclaiming your energy. Caring deeply doesn't mean caring about everything. Strategic compassion is actually more effective. It's funny how we'll research the perfect self-care routine instead of actually resting or setting boundaries. We schedule everyone else but put our own needs in the someday maybe folder. Here's a truth that might surprise you. Caring about everything means effectively caring about nothing. When your attention is fragmented across too many concerns, you can't give quality care to what truly matters. Chapter 1. Your body's warning system. Physical signs of caring too much. Your body keeps score even when your mind ignores it. Those headaches, that fatigue, the disrupted sleep, they're your body's desperate attempt to get your attention. When you care too much for too long, your body activates its stress response. Cortisol and adrenaline flood your system, designed for emergencies, not chronic concern. This alarm system was never meant to run continuously. For many overcarers, it never fully turns off, weakening your immune system and disrupting sleep. That constant anxiety you feel, the way your shoulders tense when your phone buzzes, the racing thoughts at night, these aren't character flaws. They're physiological responses to the invisible workload of caring about everything. Recognizing these physical signals is crucial because they're often the first warning signs. Your body will tell you you're carrying too much, long before your mind admits it. It's ironic that we'll research the best supplements for our pets, but completely ignore when our own bodies are shouting at us. Oh, that migraine? That's just Tuesday. Your body doesn't have separate accounts for work stress, relationship stress, and caring stress. It's all drawing from the same account, and that account has limits, whether you acknowledge them or not. Chapter 2. The Emotional Bankruptcy. When empathy becomes depleted. Compassion fatigue isn't just a fancy term. It's the emotional equivalent of going broke. When you've overdrawn your empathy account too many times, eventually there's nothing left. Our capacity for emotional connection isn't infinite. Each time you absorb someone's pain or struggle, you make a withdrawal from your emotional reserves. Without equivalent deposits through self-care and boundaries, you'll reach emotional bankruptcy. The warning sign? Feeling numb toward people you genuinely care about. Think about the last time someone shared a problem. Did you feel that weight settling onto your shoulders, or that responsibility to fix it? Now multiply that by every interaction, every day. That accumulation leads to empathy overload, where your brain cannot process any more emotional distress. Understanding this limit isn't selfish. It's essential for sustainable care. Emotional bankruptcy doesn't just hurt you, it prevents you from being present for those who matter most. We believe we have some magical empathy generator running on good intentions rather than actual emotional energy. Just try caring harder is about as effective as telling your phone to charge itself with positive thinking. Emotional debt carries the highest interest rate of all. You don't just lose your capacity for empathy, you lose your connection to joy, meaning, and purpose as well. Chapter 3. The Relationship Paradox. When caring creates imbalance. Here's the great irony of overcaring. The very behaviors you think strengthen relationships often undermine them. Care without boundaries doesn't create closeness, it creates dysfunction. When one person consistently overextends in caring, it creates a dangerous imbalance. The overcarer develops resentment they can't express because caring is their role. Meanwhile, the recipient either becomes dependent or feels suffocated. This pattern traps both people in an unhealthy dynamic that prevents authentic connection. Consider the friend who's always available, always listening, always supporting. They seem like the perfect friend, yet somehow the relationship never deepens to true reciprocity. The listener never becomes the one who's heard, creating a hidden power dynamic. Breaking this pattern requires understanding that true connection demands balance. Healthy relationships aren't built on one-sided caring, but on mutual vulnerability and support. It's like relationships operate on some bizarre formula where our caring squared plus their needs divided by our boundaries equals love. Spoiler alert, relationship math doesn't work that way. The martyr complex isn't a virtue, it's a relationship killer. No one wants to be someone else's project, and no one respects someone they can continually take from without giving back. Chapter 4. The Professional Price Tag. Caring in your career. What if your greatest professional strength is also secretly undermining your career? For many, the very quality that drew you to your work becomes the thing that threatens to end it. Caring professions come with a built-in paradox. The empathy that makes you effective is rarely recognized financially, yet extracts a very real cost. Healthcare workers, teachers, and those in customer service face emotional labor, managing both your emotions and others as part of your job. This invisible work rarely appears in job descriptions but contributes significantly to burnout. Think about the unofficial roles you've taken on, the colleague who always comes to you with problems, the emotional temperature taking in meeting, ensuring everyone feels heard. None of this appears in your job description, yet consumes significant mental bandwidth. Recognizing the professional cost of caring isn't about caring less. It's about strategic care that preserves your career longevity and effectiveness. We have complex metrics for tracking every business outcome except emotional labor. Great job managing that difficult client. But also, why are you burned out? You're just talking to people all day. The burnout paradox is real. Your performance declines despite working harder because emotional depletion affects everything from decision-making to creativity to basic execution. And hey, if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Also, let me know your thoughts on what I just shared. Oh, and there's more. I've just started a Patreon to help support these videos and connect with you more directly. Check out the link in the description if you'd like to join. Chapter 5. The Science of Sustainable Compassion. What research tells us? What if science could show us exactly how to care deeply without burning out? Research reveals something surprising. Compassion and empathy are not the same thing, and that distinction could save you. Neuroscience has identified two distinct neural pathways when responding to suffering. Empathic distress activates pain centers, creating shared suffering that leads to burnout. Compassion activates different networks associated with care and reward. We can care deeply without absorbing others' emotional states, a critical distinction for sustainability. Consider a doctor treating a patient in pain. Empathic distress means feeling that pain personally, leading to overwhelm. Compassion means recognizing suffering while maintaining emotional stability to help effectively. One depletes, the other sustains. This distinction revolutionizes our approach to caring. By developing compassion rather than empathic distress, you increase your capacity to care effectively while protecting your well-being. Our brains come with two different operating systems for caring, but nobody gave us the user manual. Here's your human brain. Figure out the settings yourself. The most caring people aren't those who absorb others' suffering. They're those who can be fully present with pain without becoming overwhelmed by it. That's the paradox of sustainable compassion. Chapter 6. Drawing the Line. The Art of Boundary Setting. What if boundaries aren't walls that separate you from others, but the very foundation that makes meaningful connection possible? The most compassionate people aren't those without limits. They're those with the clearest ones. Boundaries define where you end and others begin. The geography of healthy relationships. They aren't selfish. They're essential prerequisites for sustainable care. The crucial distinction is between support and rescue. Support honors another's capacity to handle challenges with your assistance. Rescue assumes responsibility for problems that aren't yours to solve. Consider the difference between "I'm here to listen whenever you're ready" versus "let me fix this for you right now." Or "I can help Tuesday afternoon" versus "I'll drop everything whenever you call." One approach sustains, the other eventually collapses. Establishing clear boundaries isn't about caring less. It's about caring more effectively and sustainably. It creates the conditions for authentic support rather than depleting rescue. We carefully establish boundaries for our pets, our children, even our smartphones. No calls after 9 p.m., but act like having personal limits is some radical concept. What do you mean you can't help me move at 6 a.m. on Sunday? The most powerful word in the caregiver's vocabulary isn't yes. It's a clear, unapologetic no that makes space for a meaningful yes to what truly matters. Chapter 7. Strategic Caring. Choosing where to invest your emotional energy. What if you treated your capacity for caring like a precious investment portfolio rather than an unlimited resource? Where would you invest your emotional energy if you knew it was finite? Strategic caring is based on a simple truth. Your capacity for meaningful attention is your most valuable resource. When you try to care equally about everything, you dilute your impact everywhere. The alternative is conscious allocation. This means deliberately choosing where your care will make a meaningful difference, rather than dispersing it across everything that demands attention. Consider creating 3 concentric circles of care. The inner circle contains what's most central to your values: your health, closest relationships, primary work. The middle circle includes important but less essential concerns. The outer circle holds things you care about but can't directly impact. This visual helps prioritize your limited emotional energy. Strategic caring isn't cold calculation. It's wisdom that preserves your capacity for deep care where it matters most. It's about quality of attention rather than quantity of concerns. We somehow believe we can care intensely about 87 different issues simultaneously, when most of us can't even keep more than 7 items in our working memory. Let me solve climate change while replying to 40 emails and worrying about my presentation. Caring about fewer things doesn't mean you care less. It means you care deeply enough to make an actual difference where it matters most. That's the paradox of strategic compassion. Chapter 8. Building Resilience. Tools for the Emotional Caregiver. What if the most selfless thing you could do is to become radically self-full? Building emotional resilience isn't a luxury for caregivers. It's the essential foundation that makes meaningful care possible. Resilience isn't about toughening up or caring less. It's about developing practices that replenish your emotional resources as consistently as you expend them. Research shows 3 key practices make the greatest difference: completing the stress cycle, mindful self-compassion, and intentional joy. These aren't indulgences. They're the infrastructure that supports sustainable caring. Completing the stress cycle means giving your body signals that the danger has passed. Physical movement, creative expression, deep connection, and crying all tell your nervous system to stand down. Without this completion, stress hormones continue circulating, creating chronic depletion. These resilience practices aren't separate from caring. They're what makes profound caring sustainable. Think of them as oxygen for the emotional caregiver, not optional, but necessary for survival. It's telling that we'll meticulously charge our phones every night, but then act surprised when our own human batteries run completely flat. Why am I exhausted? I've only been running on 1% for 6 months. Self-care isn't selfish. It's the foundation of a service. You can't pour from an empty cup, and you certainly can't pour from a cup with a hole in the bottom. Chapter 9. From Depletion to Abundance. The Path Forward. What if the greatest gift you could give to others isn't more of your depleted self, but your thriving, fully alive presence? The journey from exhaustion to vibrant caring isn't just possible, it's necessary. Sustainable caring requires a fundamental shift, moving from a depletion model to an abundance model. In depletion, you give until empty, then try to recover. In abundance, you create systems that generate more energy than you expend. This means caring from your overflow rather than your reserves, a profound paradigm shift with transformative effects. Consider the difference between these approaches. Depletion says, I'll help everyone, then try to recover. Abundance says, I'll maintain practices that keep me vital, then serve from that vitality. One leads to burnout, the other to sustainable impact. This shift isn't just about self-preservation. It fundamentally changes what you have to offer others. When you care from abundance, you bring presence, creativity, and genuine connection instead of resentment, exhaustion, and obligation. Imagine if our phones operated the way we try to. I'll just keep running all these apps until I completely shut down, then charge for 20 minutes and wonder why I'm still not working properly. The world doesn't need more martyrs who care until they break. It needs more wholehearted people who have discovered how to care deeply while remaining fully alive. That's not just sustainable, it's revolutionary. Feeling drained from caring about everything all the time? Join our YouTube membership for exclusive perks like early access to scripts, input on future topics about productivity, and connect with a like-minded community that gets it. Click join below and let's build your easier, more intentional life together.